Okay, and we're back. Let's go back to our thing here. So we just lowered this surface. And if I want to kind of flatten it out further, I can say add point. Keep the elevation at -6 inches. And I could add, I suppose I could add a few more points over here. And then hit escape again. And we've got a little plateau for the house, even though it exists within a larger slope. So it looks like we've covered the first few pages of the tutorial. Now it's asking to throw in a few trees, a sun path, and some shading. Okay, so back to Revit. We can go to Site Component right here, and that'll give us a couple of trees. So I can pick one. I can pick one and sort of sprinkle it around. Oh, it's pretty laggy. Okay. There we go. I can also, if I want, I can load further things by going to Insert, Load Family. And actually, because I'm on my personal computer, I don't have anything here, but if you guys are doing it on the school computers, if you go to Load Family, there should be a couple of categories in there that have more items. Like, I think there's a category that says Site, and then like plants and other type of stuff. So you can have like outdoorsy type of components you can sprinkle around if you want to. That's enough trees for now though, I think. So let's proceed to doing the shading, the sun path. So down here there's a little icon with a sun and a light bulb that's turned off. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to start by saying sun path on. Got two options here. I'll say continue with current settings. Use the specified project location data. I would like to specify the project location, so I'm going to click on the first one. It gives me the sun path. Now it doesn't really show any shadows yet, I think. Yeah, it's not showing any shadows, but if I go down here, there's a little sphere next to the sun that's off, so I'm going to click that, and it turns the shadows on. And as you can see, there's our shadow, and I can kind of move the sun around and influence the shadows by doing that. So that's how we can get shadows. Now the last thing we want to do is click on the sun path and say sun settings. And in here I get to pick, you know, if I want a still or a sort of see the path over a single day. We can play around with these settings later. And these are just important to know that they exist. You know, summer solstice, winter solstice. This gives you sort of the maximum and the least amount of shading you'll receive throughout the year. So those are always useful to show for any shade study. Location, we can input our location wherever we happen to be. I'm going to put in Humber College, and it should find it. It's a bit slow. Search. There we go. I'm going to pick one of them. North Campus, sure. Click on that. Hit OK. So now we've got that as our location. For date, I can pick whatever date I want. Let's say I want to go to today's date, March 5th. And time, noon, sure. Hit apply. And hit OK. So now it's actually specific to my actual geography, and I can sort of play around with the different times of day. I can click on this and say, let's say, you know, 7 a.m. gives me a different set of shadows, and so on. So that's the idea behind the first tutorial. So we're done this part. I can hit close. Let's close this guy as well. And now let's go to part 2. Okay, so it wants us to start off by annotating. We're basically making some schedules, I think, a door and a window and a wall schedule. So we've done this in parts on previous assignments before, and then we add one note. Okay, so back to here. So for this, let's go to our first floor. And as before, you're probably already aware of this, but I'll just show it to you one more time. If you go to annotate, I can go to something called tag by category. And let's say I want to do windows. I just click on every window and it'll give me a little tag indicating what that window is. But if I want to be more efficient with my time, I can use the tag all option. So tag all, and I can say tag all windows, apply, and OK. And it just tags all of the windows for me, as you can see. Now I can do a similar thing with doors, tag all doors, and hit apply. Now sometimes you may have to modify them a bit, like in this case this door tag is over top of the actual door, so it's tough to read. So maybe I'll do a quick check and go around, make sure all of the tags are visible. And so on. So I won't waste your time with all of those, but you can see there's another one here that I could move. Perhaps this one should be moved, and a couple of other ones, maybe. And that's about it. So we now have our door tags and window tags, and so what we can do next, we're going to leave walls for last. But now if I want to make a schedule, I'm going to go to, I think it's in view. And it's this little button up here. It doesn't have a label, but if you hover over it, it says schedules. Click the arrow and we're going to go schedule / quantities. And so let's start with windows first. And what kind of window schedule does it want from us? Doors. Those are walls. Okay, it's not really, doesn't matter. I'm not quite sure what they specify for the window schedule, but we'll just make our own. So back to here. So windows, let's say OK. So now it basically is going to give us a list of stuff that we can include in our window schedule. So I'm going to include first the type mark, so that gives us the specific number assigned to that window, or the name assigned to it. I'm going to go to family / type, or family and type. That tells me a bit more about it. And I think that's about it. That's all I really need. Maybe if I want to have some notes, I can add that. Is there notes? No, there isn't. Comments. Comments, sure. And if I want to play with the order of these, actually I'll show you later how to play with the order of them. So let's just hit OK. And now it should create the schedule for me. So I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. And that's it. So I have a schedule there. If I wanted to, I could insert it onto a sheet, just like I would any other drawing. Oh boy, this one's huge. Okay. Let's just get this guy a little bit smaller. It's really lagging here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. This one is now a bit smaller. And now if I wanted to, I could just take my window schedule. For some reason, it looks like there's already been some schedules made in here, but I believe ours is window schedule 2. And I can just pop it in there. There we go. So now I can make another one, view, schedule, doors, Same thing, I can go type mark, add that, family and type, and why not, let's do the same thing, comments. And so in this one, in this schedule, I had them in this order: type, mark, family, type, and comments. But you can see here, if you want, you can mess with it. So I can bump comments up, and that would move the comments column to the middle. So I'll just show you that's how it works here. See, so as you can see, the comments column is now in the middle. And if I want to change that, I can. I can just, once I stretch this guy out, there we go. I can go down to here and say fields, edit. And I could click on comments and bump it down and say OK. And it switches. So back to my floor plan. I can now take the door schedule and pop that in as well. Now the last thing I wanted to show you, or second last thing, is how to create a wall schedule. So the walls are they require a bit more work, because if you go to annotate, tag by category, let's say I pick a exterior wall, it's going to give me a question mark. It doesn't know what the name of that wall is. This wall doesn't have a type mark yet. So to set a type mark, I click the wall, I go to edit type, and down where it says mark type, I'm going to go W01. So this is wall type 1, and hit OK. Now I have a different wall type on this drawing, so I can go back to annotate, tag by category, and tag the interior partition. Same story there. So it's just simply click on one of the partitions, edit type, go down to type mark, W02, and it updates that here. As you can see, the last wall type we have is in the basement. So I'm going to go to annotate, tag by category, and repeat the process one more time. W03. Okay, so now that I have all those, I'm going to go back to view and do a new schedule. This time I'm going to pick walls. And I'm going to do similar things again. Let's go type mark, throw that in there, family and type, and some comments, and hit OK. Now it's going to give us one small issue here. It's going to list every single wall in the project, which is way more than we want. We really want just to show the type of walls that there are. And so what I'm going to do is, instead of showing this really long list of walls, I just want to kind of have one wall of each type. So what I'm going to do is go down here, go to edit type, edit under fields, and I'm going to go to sorting and grouping, sort by type mark, and this is the important thing: uncheck itemize every instance. So now it won't give us a line for every instance, it'll just give us a line for every type, and therefore it should have just 3, which you can see right there. So that's our wall schedule. We can add that to the paper as well. Wall schedule right there. And that's it. The last thing I wanted to show you is just how to make a note, which which will be really quick. Let's just pick an elevation here. Let's say I want to label this 2-foot overhang here. So I would basically go to annotate, text. Now I want to have an arrow that kind of pops out so I can write over here but have an arrow pointing at it. And you got a couple of options here. Here's just text. Here's text with an arrow. Here's text with an arrow that has an elbow. And here's a curved piece of arrow. And so what I could do, I guess, is just click here, level it out, and say something like, I think it's 600 millimeter roof overhang. Done. And so that's how you add text. And I think that's it. That is all of the stuff we needed to cover for today. Thank you very much.